I'm sure you've had them races over the years where it's a survival type of thing. Do you have any fond or maybe not so fond memories of those races, Rachel?
The worst survival race I ever had was my first 6 days. It did not go well.
Where was that at?
It was in Germany it would have been 2012. I'm like 90%. Yeah, 2012. I was 16 years old, which I'm not sure that sending a 16-year-old to 6 days on a trophy team is a good idea. But they needed somebody, and I happened to be there and was next on the list. So I got the nod. And on the other thing, too, you have to realize about Germany, it's a true 6 days in the old school where, they run you through really, really, they want you to lose route points. They want to make it so you're having to charge on the transfers and really struggle through stuff. And it didn't help that it rained almost every single day. But I had my watch on me and I realized I was going to be late to one of the checks unless I picked up my speed on the transfer. And I ended up crashing fairly hard. I thought I had broken my leg. Fortunately, I did not, but it left me with a bone bruise and hematoma that was bad enough. I walked the next month and a half with a limp. When I first got up, I couldn't put any weight on it at all. It would just collapse under me.
Wow.
And unfortunately, days 3 and 4 were our 214-mile days. And that's miles, not kilometers. So very long days, probably 8 hours on the bike. And I did it maybe a third of the way into the day at the most. But I dreamed of going to 6 days ever since I was a little kid. And I was so afraid that if I stopped, or if I gave up, they'd never take me back again. And I couldn't stand the thought of that. So I rode kind of how you would if you had broken a foot peg off. I counterweighted really hard with the opposite arm, the arm of the injured leg, if that makes sense, and then just let the arm hang, or the leg hang there. So I was able to, I ended up houring out that day, but I made it back to the pits more or less safely. And Mandy had me re-impound. She was kind of our informal team captain. She's like, well, we haven't used our re-impound yet. You won't be riding for a medal, but hopefully you'll feel better in the morning and we'll be able to still do something. It was actually worse in the morning if such a thing was possible, but I had wanted more than anything to do this. And I was I wasn't going to give up. Probably the hardest part of that fourth day was, so you've been to 6 days, so you know this, but you know how they have the starting platform, right?
Right.
It's made of wood. You take your bike out of impound. You can't start it, can't fire up it or anything, and have to push it. And then you push it up onto the wooden platform.
Up the hill.
Give you the signal you could take off. It was raining that morning, and I could not get my bike up the platform. It took me 7 because I could hardly get weight on it, so I'm pushing as hard as I can, and the leg would give out, the bike would fall over, and I'd back the bike up, and I'd try and push it up again. It probably... You'll have to ask Dave next time you see him about that, because he and I think Jay Hall and my dad were just watching. And
yeah, and you can't do nothing. You can't help the rider.
Nobody could touch the bike. I couldn't tell if they were just horrified or if it was pity, but I did not. The look on everybody's faces, I won't forget that for a good long time.
Did you ever?
But I finally managed to get it up just enough that I was able to drag it from the front and get it the rest of the way up on there and get on it and go. But yeah, that was unpleasant. And
that's determination.
As it turns out, I houred out again that day and also hit a car. So it was really, really not a good day for me.
I think my dad told me about your 6 days that it was just an absolute. So did you win the? Because I won it in 2007, which is not an award you want to win, which is like the award for the person that had it the roughest at the 6 days. Did you win that? Did they still give that out then?
They weren't still giving it out at the time, but I cannot think of a more deserving recipient that year. Boy, that was rough.
I just remember all the 6 days that we went and watched, or I rode in a couple, and then it's like nobody wanted to win that award because you went through absolute hell and back if you got that award. And I unfortunately won it in 2007, but well, you know what? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Absolutely. I like to joke that if there is a hell, and if I live a really, really horrible life here on Earth, I'm going to be halfway up the Teufelsberg Mountain, and the Germans are going to be honking their air horns at me because they think it's motivational. And I'm going to be trying to push that stupid motorcycle up that stupid hill with one leg. That's where I'm going to be for all eternity if they really want to punish me. Because, yeah, that was probably the hardest experience I've had on a dirt bike ever.